To think about abstraction together, let's go to a comment that Ethan made about a particular quote that appears in the textbook. So here's that quote. For Kandinsky, painting was a utopian force. That's a big claim. A utopia, a perfect world, a better world. Painting is actually going to create a better world. It goes on to say he saw art's traditional focus on accurate rendering of the physical world as a misguided, materialistic quest. He hoped that his paintings would lead humanity toward a deeper awareness of spirituality and the inner world. There's a lot to unpack there. As Ethan says, what is the textbook exactly trying to say? And what exactly does that tell us about the artist's motivation? Let's start with the part of the quote that possibly is easiest to kind of hook your understanding on. The idea of art's traditional focus on accurate rendering of the physical world. Probably that's pretty clear to you because you can come up in your mind with actual artworks that do that. So we talked about Nicholas Rutz, right? The accurate rendering of a portrait of someone wearing particular objects, and we feel like we could touch that fur. We know what those objects are. And the artwork invites us to really examine, admire, and enjoy the objects. From Kandinsky's perspective, that's suspect, because that is training us to have a materialistic vision of the world. So materialistic, we know in our common usage of the word, generally means someone who's excessively concerned with material possessions, money-oriented, and, you build your identity, if you're Nicholas von Rutz, in a capitalist society through your success with money, investment, with fur trading. Look what you own, look who you are. You can also look up the definition of materialism, a tendency to consider material possessions and physical comfort as more important than spiritual values. This is what Kandinsky is talking about. Kandinsky is saying that art needs to be an alternative to the materialism of the modern industrial capitalist world, this endless pursuit of money, the creation of more and more objects and products for buying and selling, that humanity needs to return to spirituality and the inner world. And he sees abstraction as being a way to retrain our hearts and minds away from the appearances of things, away from surfaces of objects, and towards something deeper. So note that Kandinsky is not the first artist to make this connection, that creating a more abstract mode of representation will open a deeper horizon or expanse of spiritual meaning. Van Gogh was also trying to get away from just describing how the hayfields look. It's not just about how the hayfields look at all. It's about the energy and feeling in those agitated strokes, the kind of quest for harmony in nature, and the sense that actually harmony is you are experiencing anguish, both beauty and anguish together. That's what abstraction makes possible, that Kandinsky would say just looking at the surfaces of things could never do. So for Kandinsky, abstract art is teaching you not to be so literal about how you respond to what you're seeing, and thus not to be so materialistic, not to look to the appearances of the world, to the material world for meaning, but to actually find meaning from your inner response, from where your imagination and your feeling, your thoughts and your sensations, where they go for you, how they set in motion what he would call a spiritual experience.